Hi guys, it's Brittany. So today is actually a new series that I'm starting, and the very first new video of this new series of Back in Time watches. And what this series is actually about me sharing with you of my very first time watching a movie, and I'll be sharing that memory of the first time that I saw, pretty much any movie, and to share that movie and experience with you guys. And so I'm so excited to start this new series and to do more of this, and of course to do more videos coming soon. And so today we're going to be talking about Liar Liar. Now, I remember the first time I actually watched Liar Liar was back when I was quite little. I don't know how old I was at the time, maybe 7, 8, around there. I don't quite remember, but I remember I was quite young. And now, of course, there are scenes in the movie that, of course, I just laughed, but there are some things that I did not quite understood at the time. But, of course, now the impression it left on me is that it's just funny. And, of course, since I also grew up watching Jim Carrey and his movies, like, and seeing him in this movie, it's just, seeing how he was playing this character, and of course there are some parts where you feel bad for him, but there are some parts where he's like, overreacting, because that's what he does. Like when he plays a character, he overreacts when it comes to certain things he'll do or say, but it comes out so funny, very hilarious. And so, of course, it just left this impression on me, like, okay, this is another good, funny Jim Carrey movie. And so, of course, I do remember liking it and enjoying it, and how certain parts did make me laugh. But of course, I think there were some parts that were been said that I did not quite understood. But even though I didn't quite understood it, it just went over my head. But I still liked it. I still watched the movie. But yeah, I just, I still do. I still like it. And so yeah, like I said, it's just really great. And then I remember, of course, at some point, when I got older, I would say probably when I was a teen, there were some things, of course, I probably understood a bit more. But then I think there was probably one thing I still did not quite understand. I was like, what? Okay, so what that part is, okay, the part where when the judge calls up to him and he tells him that he has to go up there now, but then you see this look on his face, like he doesn't know what to say, and knowing no matter what he says, even if he tries to lie, he can't, because it'll just come out as the truth. So all of a sudden you see him drinking a glass of water. Then he gets up and he's like, okay, it looks like he's trying to think of what to say, but then he has this look like, I have an idea, maybe I can get a way out of this. And then he tells him, will the court be willing to grant me a short bathroom break? And the judge asked him, can it wait? And I think in a way he said, yes it can, or yes it can't. Or I think he said can. But then he started saying something that he heard, that something about he has he said that he's heard something about if men don't take a break to even go to the bathroom, that there's something that will be hard of for men to get. And so when he mentioned those things, I was like, wait, what? Like, and of course I did not know what that was. And so then the judge believes him. He was like, oh, can that happen? No, wait, I don't think he said that. Oh no, he said, is that true? And then he tells him it has to be. And then he says, well, I better take a short break myself. And he tells him, you better get back when you're done. And of course, he looks happy, thinking, okay, I could try to find a way out of this. Because even when he's in the bathroom, you see him and he has his head on the wall, and then you hear him saying that. You hear him saying, oh, how do I get out of this? And that's why he brought that up, because he's trying to find a way to get out of the situation where he doesn't have to say anything in court, because he knows he can't lie, because it comes out as the truth. Now, and here's another thing too. Even the first time I watched it when I was little, now of course when his son made that wish that just for one day his dad wouldn't tell a lie, and then he blows out the candles, and then it goes off to the next scene where, after spending some time with his coworker, and so she asked him something, you know she asked him if it was good for him, and then he says, I've had better. No, now of course at that time I had no idea what he meant. I had no clue, and so I'm like, okay, forgive me. Now at that time, like I said, I was quite young. I was probably like maybe, I would say maybe 8, around there, I think. And so and so when he said that, I remember he kept repeating that, because he was shocked himself, like, why did I say that? Because it's like he knows that he would think it in his mind, but he would never actually say it. But he would somehow come up with a lie, saying, oh yeah, that was great. But instead, it came out, it was the truth, where he says that to her, because the funny thing is, after he says that, he has this shocked look, like, did I just say that? And then she throws him out of the room and closes the doors behind her. And then he's still laying on the floor where she pushed him. And then because after she closes the door, then he asked himself, saying it again, saying, I've had better. So when he kept repeating that, I remember thinking, wait, of what? Because, like I said, of course, I did not know exactly what they were doing, but it was until he said that, that's when I was like, that's when I was a little confused, and I was like, of what? Like, I don't know. But of course, it was until as a teen that then I knew what it was, and then when he said it, then I just started laughing, because I knew. And because I understood it, and then I was like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. And like I said, so I was just like, oh my gosh, like, okay, that's funny. But then another thing I thought at the time when I was very little is that when Max made that wish, that just for one day his dad couldn't tell a lie. And since that wish happened, came true the moment, like that same night, and just when after they had done that, and then she asked him that question, and then he had that response. Um, and yeah, like, and here's another thing, because when he made that wish, which immediately came true right after that, which turned out completely hilarious. Oh my gosh. And then, and so, and so my point is that because of that, I remember thinking like, wow, that wish of his really came true. And I remember thinking, can that really happen? Like, okay, if it was my birthday, and if I had to make any wish of the birthday candle on my cake, would that come true? And if it were to, just how soon it would come true? Would it be within minutes later? Would it be an hour later? Or would it happen within the same day? You know, the next day, a week after, you know, how soon? Because I remember thinking that would be great. You know, that would be great if you just make a wish on something and then it happens. You know, it comes true. But then it depends on what you wish on, because I think there are some things that when you do wish for something, when you blow out the candle, somehow, of course, there are some things that wouldn't exactly happen due to maybe certain reasons, maybe logical or reasonable, realistic reasons, you know, depending what that is. But let's say if you wish that you could, like, get tickets to go to Universal Studios, and all of a sudden, boom, there, you have the tickets, and now you can go to Universal Studios and just have a bunch of fun there. Now that's something I wish that would happen. Excuse me. Oh, my throat's a little dry. But yeah, like I said, that's what I thought. I thought, wouldn't that be great if I could make any wish and then it comes true? I thought that would be great. But of course, with his wish, it was nothing like something that he wanted. It was nothing like something he wanted to buy, you know, like at the store, nothing like a toy, a bike, or anything. His was more like just him missing his dad, and just him like hoping that his dad would just not lie about anything, and that just for one day his dad would not tell a lie about anything, and that no matter what, that his dad will tell the truth no matter what it may be. Excuse me. And so that, in a way, I think that was a nice wish. But although it turned out being so funny afterwards, and then of course it gets more funny along the way, because the more he says something and it comes out as the truth, and he's more shocked. You know, the more he tells the truth, the more he's like, what is happening to me? Why am I blurring out the truth when he normally lies? So it's like, so to him, it's not normal for him to be just telling the truth, you know, like just like that, you know. so so of course, I would say there are just like that. So that's how it left impression on me, is that it's just this very funny movie where how his son makes a wish that his dad wouldn't tell a lie for one day, and yet it turns out being so funny, because no matter what he says, no matter how hard he lies, no matter how hard he tries to lie, he can't, because it'll just come out as the truth, as it is. And so he thinks, okay, what's going on? What's happening to me? And so now, of course, I do like this movie. I still enjoy it. It's still entertaining and just funny. And of course, And of course, there are certain parts that just makes me laugh so hard, and that's where he's at the court, and oh yeah, I think he saw another lawyer that he knew, um, that he knows, who showed up there, and then now this is really funny. It is the part where she says to him, of I think 50% of committed adultery, and then she asks him, what's your case? And he says the case is simply this, but then when he when he tries to say something, it seems like he can't try to get any words out because he's just making these sounds, other noises, and it's just so funny because it just seems like he can't seem to know what to say to her except making those sounds and and saying things that are just, so funny. And then he ends up doing something that's so funny that I have in my mind right now. This is so funny that after that he's like, okay, there, I'm done. Even though it wasn't anything that he said, because it just seemed like he had nothing to say to her except, oh, I'm just, it's just almost like, okay, I have nothing to say to you, but this is what's coming out of me, which are these sounds and noises. And oh gosh, and like I said, it just gets funny from there. And believe me, I can go on about those parts, but wow. And here's the thing, and here's also what I like about the movie is that not only you get this really funny parts that will just make you laugh so hard, but the story is also heartfelt because you feel bad for his son, and of course you also feel bad for him um because when there's a part when he's talking to his son, but then when he tells him, you're the one that makes me feel bad, then you see this sad look on his face, like he never meant to do or say anything for his son to make him feel bad, um you know in that way. And so of course then after that, when he goes back to work, he's just down, he's just sad, and that he's sad because he thinks his son hates him, but really he doesn't hate him, he just wants him to be more honest, and he doesn't want him to lie. So of course, and that's very understandable, it is. But then of course at some point we do see how everyone, including that they get back together, and so yeah, that's when I remember the first time I watched it when I was little. And like I said, there are certain things I didn't quite understood, but as I got older I was like, oh. Then I understood it, and then I just laughed. And I will say this, and of course as many times as I've seen it, I still find it entertaining and enjoyable and just very funny to watch because I laugh hard every time and doesn't fail. So yeah, and of course even Jim Carrey, he was also part of my childhood as well, because yeah, I have grew up watching that movie, but I also grew up watching Ace Ventura, The Mask, well, and of course Batman Forever with him as the Riddler, which of course I actually love his performance as the Riddler. And then some other movies. I think there are certain ones I didn't watch until I was like just a little bit older. Um, but yes, I just do love Jim Carrey, and so seeing this movie at such a young age, just left this impression on me that okay, this is another great movie, and he's just so funny, and And I'm like, okay, I can't stop laughing because there are certain things when he overreacts on things, but that's just what he does. That's what makes him Jim Carrey. And so seeing certain things, like even the face expressions he does, even the way he says things, even the way he does does things or says things, it's just funny. And yeah, and so of course from this movie, it definitely, like I said, it definitely I of course, with this movie, it left this, yeah, impression on me that, you know, I had a good time. And it's like, okay, I really like this movie, and this is something I can see myself watching over and over again. And yes, I do own it on DVD. Yeah, so yeah, now of course it even like I said, even years later, even to this day, like when I watch it, it still makes me laugh. Like even right now, when I'm thinking about those parts, I'm trying not to laugh too hard, only because I know that those parts itself is still funny, and it's something I will still laugh at really hard, and it's because the way Jim Carrey um, presents himself into the character, the way he, you know, does the way he does, which is great. And it's like, not only is entertaining, but it's funny, and it's just, you know, it's just really great to watch. Um and so yeah, I did grow up watching some of his movies, and of course even the rest of the cast, they were really great as well. And now of course I and the funny thing is, I think with Carrie Ellis was, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing his last name wrong, I'm so sorry, but now of course somehow I did not recognize him at first at the time, because I do remember watching uh The Princess Bride, which of course he was oh yeah, Wesley. And somehow, now I do remember probably recognize that I didn't recognize him, but I'm like, wait, is he from, you know? But then I was like, I don't know, like, is it? But then of course I see him. I remember seeing him again later in Twister, which is also my favorite movie. Um, but yeah, now I hope you enjoyed this. Um, but yeah, um, now of course I do remember having great memories of watching this movie, and of course when I still watch it, I still like, I'm still making, so it's kind of like, even when I still watch it, I feel like there's still new memories, you know, when I still watch it, and just having a good time and being entertained, and just um laughing really hard. And of course it is just fun to watch, it's funny to watch, and it's just overall, you know, just very entertaining and enjoyable. And Jim Carrey is what makes it very watchable and very funny and entertaining, with him and of course with everyone else in the movie. So all of you did such a great job. And yeah, yeah, so that was my first time, and even other times when I did watch it, um, from then even up until now. And so, yeah, I still like to watch it. So, yeah, that is all for today, and that is my first video of Back in Time watches, and the first time that I've watched Liar Liar. So, let me know what you think of the movie, and have you seen it? And if you haven't, then I do recommend it, because it's just funny. I think before I get off of here, I just want to say that even though I also like watching serious dramatic movies, but I also love watching funny movies, and of course, I even grew up watching with funny movies along with other comedians that I did grow up watching, and there are some that I didn't watch until when I was probably a teen or even up until my 20s. But I mean, other than that, like, believe me, even though there's times I might be serious, like, yes, I am a serious person, but at the same time, I love to laugh because I cannot be serious for too long. I mean, I can't. But and here's the thing now, I don't know. Now, there is one thing I did notice in the movie, and I don't know if it was somehow a reference to another movie, but it's something I did cut on. Now, of course, now with watching Liar Liar, there are many things that just made me laugh out loud. But there was this one part that I think made me laugh hard. um like burst out laughing, which it still does. And it's a part where he's still in court and he's having trouble to say anything because anything he says cannot be a lie. It comes out as the truth. So there is a part where he's talking to his client, Jennifer Tilly, and she did such a great job with her role too. And so it's funny how, because there's this one part where he's talking to her, but then she says something to him, and then he has this like shocked look on his face, and then she says something, and he says something back, and then she says something to him. Oh yeah, she says that she wants to proceed, and then he says, he tells her, Mrs. Cole, you don't understand, but it's the way he's saying that, like he's trying to say it low, or trying to keep it low, I think, where no one hears him. But then the judge, he asked him, Mr. Reed, I think he's asked him, do we have a settlement? Uh, I think something like that. I think he asked him that question. And then, so after he asked him that, and this is funny because he turns around but he says no, but it's the way he says no. And it's just so funny. And then he puts his head down, puts his hands onto his head, and he lifts up his head and his hair is just sticking up. Now, of course, that makes me laugh hard every time, and it never fails. But so when he does that, he says, "No, Your Honor," and then the judge asks him, "So there's no settlement?" And his hair is still sticking up, and he's like, but he has a look on his face. Now, believe me, I love that part. Like, even something as simple as that is funny. But, and here's another thing, and like I said, I'm not sure if this was like a reference to another movie or not, but I think somehow it probably was, whether if it was intentional or unintentional. And here's what I mean by that, is because with the fact that when he turned around and he said no, and all of a sudden he puts his hands on his hair and his hair's sticking up. I'm sorry. Oh, I can't help it. It still makes me laugh. Even if I saw a still picture of that, I would not be able to stop laughing. But so yeah. Okay, here's what I mean. So when that happened, now of course, I just thought, okay, this was something that was part in the movie, part of the script, something that his character felt like, okay, he's frustrated because he can't lie and he keeps telling the truth, so he's like, he doesn't know what to do, so he puts his hands on his head and his hair is sticking out. So, like I said, so when that happens, like I said, it's just so funny. I just love hard. But anyway, so, and I did not, this was something I even noticed in another movie. Because this, even that part, the same thing happens in another movie. Because I remember, now of course, when I do this video, it will be maybe this year, or maybe by the time of the movie's anniversary. I'm not sure, but that I may have to decide. But I remember the first time when I watched Tommy Boy. It was back in. I remember I first watched it with my mom on YouTube back in. What was it? 2019? Yeah, it was around there. But that happened. But of course, that one came out in 95 and Liar Liar came out in 97. So, and that happened the same thing with the hair thing. Like, because there's a part where. Oh, sorry about that. My nose. It's been a little noisy. There's a part where both David Spade and Chris Farley, they're in this office, talking to someone, about the products, of the, I think, car products of the brakes. And so just when they're trying to talk to him, trying to make a deal, with him, at some point he's like trying to say something, but then it comes out wrong, but the way it comes out wrong is just funny. And so at some point he gets up and he's frustrated and he feels like he doesn't know what to do. So it just when these things were happening and just when he's saying about what he's going through and he feels like he doesn't know what to do at that point, but then he does the same thing. He puts his hands on his head. And also when he lets go, I'm sorry, so when he lets go, even his hair is sticking up. Now, of course, now that happened. Oh, like that. So that happened, and that is also so funny. Even that makes me laugh. So hard. And so I remember when I saw that, not only I thought it was so funny, but I'm like, okay, like, this is not the first time I've seen that, but that is still so funny. And so to see that again, but of course to see Jim Carrey do that in Liar Liar, somehow I thought, was this a reference to what Chris Farley did when he played Tommy and Tommy Boy? Because somehow I think maybe that was a reference to the movie in a way, but maybe they thought, or maybe somehow they were inspired by that, and I thought, hey, you know what, that was funny, that was hilarious, so why not do that? Why not let his character do the same thing that Chris Farley did in Tommy Boy? So I think in it they were inspired by that, and they decided to put that in there for Jim Carrey to do, since Jim Carrey's going through the same thing. Oh, not really the same thing, although he's frustrated himself because his situation is different. He can't lie because he's just telling the truth. No, anyway, yeah, I'm gonna have to get going, but this has been fun talking about it, but okay, I need to breathe because I'm just like laughing so hard. But yeah, I think I actually like both in both movies, like the way they both put their hands on their head and let go and their hair is just sticking. I just felt so funny. And both of those parts are hilarious in their own way, and it just makes me laugh so hard, and I just can't help it. And of course, they're both so funny too. So, so anyway, so yeah, it's kind of like what I was saying is that with Tommy Boy though, because that's one of my favorite comedy movies. So I would just say, I mean, I would love to do a video on that, of the first time that I watched it, and I know I mentioned it just a little bit, but I don't know when I should do that. Maybe soon. I don't know, but I keep thinking maybe do it until when his anniversary comes, because it did came out in '95. So I'm thinking wait until, damn, 2025. I mean, if I do it till then I will. Ow. But then again, who knows? I may not want to wait that long. Because I would say this, depending when I might do it, then I will. It just depends. But until then, you will see me talking about other movies of the first time I've watched it. And yes, this is going on a bit long. 36. Oh gosh. I'm so sorry. I just can't help but to, talk about the movie and how, my first time watching it and how I still have great memories, of watching it, and parts that I like, parts that just make me laugh, and even though I can't help it, it's like, if I laugh any harder, my stomach will hurt and I won't end this video soon enough. So, oh, and also free to see more of this and to see more of movie reviews and movie discussion videos and reaction videos all together, even Dreamtime videos, then to see more of this and more other videos coming along, excuse me, then please subscribe and like the video and leave a comment down below of what was the first time you've watched Liar Liar and how old were you? I was quite little, so I think I was probably 8 at the time. I think. I'm not sure. Or 9, possibly. But, again, fun time watching it. And even to this day, I still enjoy watching it and have a fun time just being entertained, but at the same time able to laugh and even to, enjoy the rest of it, even through those heartfelt moments within the movie of the story. And everyone did such an amazing job. So, I think I gotta breathe. Okay, so please subscribe to see more of movie content on this channel, because my channel is dedicated to movies because of how much I love movies. So that's all for today, and I'll see you at the movies.